Call the meeting of the Springs of October 12th to order, please. Would you all please stand and rise and recite the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Attending tonight, if you would please turn your cell phones down. Roll call. Mr. Clark. Here. Ms. Thomas.
Here.
Mr. Gross. Here. Mr. Hopkins.
Here.
Mrs. Nixon.
Here.
Mr. Powell.
Here.
Mr. Hall is here. Public comment. The council welcomes and encourages the public to speak during the public comment of the public hearing portion of this agenda. However, council's policy is to hear the public comment, not to act on the public comment at this time. Concerns brought before the council during the public comment portion of the agenda will be referred to the city manager for action. If after communication with the city manager no resolution is reached, the concerns will be elevated to the mayor and then eventually to the council for action. Those citizens wishing to speak on agenda and non-agenda items will be allowed a maximum of 4 minutes each to address their concerns. This is the only time during the council meeting that citizens are allowed to address the council. Please state your name and address for the record for those that wish to speak. At this time, is there anyone wishing to address the council? Hearing and seeing none. Moving on to number 4, public hearings. We have a public hearing tonight for industrial facilities tax certificate transfer request for display tax for the amount of $1,546,240 in personal property in lieu for 12 years. I would entertain a motion to open a public hearing.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to open a public hearing.
Second. Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed sign no. Motion carries. Madam Clerk and Mr. Manager, we're public hearing. Please proceed.
I think we should see if any of the members of the public would like to speak on it.
Okay, I didn't know if you wanted to read over
I
what.
can speak briefly on it if you'd like, just to introduce the topic. It's my understanding the display pack business did have a IFT out of the city of Grand Rapids, and they then moved to this city. There are 3 years remaining on their IFT. They're requesting that we adopt and accept those remaining 3 years. The IFT committee did meet on this matter. They discussed the matter at length, and they did make a recommendation that the city council accept that and adopt the 3 years remaining. I believe that the city stands to lose approximately $3,000 in tax revenue if they do adopt this, but it does do a significant benefit to display pack. And it's something that we routinely do to encourage businesses to move to the city. In fair disclosure, I am a member of the IFT committee, and I did make the recommendation myself.
Any persons in the audience wishing to speak to this at this time? What we call display pack. Yep, we're still in the public comment.
Great. Victor Hansen, President of Display Pack. So, yeah, we're just hoping you guys will pass this because it does cost the city $3,000 in future revenues that probably need to be said that would not be had here in the city if we hadn't moved here, right? So, but it does save us many, many times more than that. We're in a position right now where we're we're growing and we need as many dollars as we can to invest in equipment and hiring new employees. And right now, we're sort of on a regular basis playing paper, rock, scissors, deciding what we can buy or who we can hire. So anything we can do to help save us a little bit to grow the business would be much appreciated.
Thank you, Mr. Vincent. Any council members with questions?
Mr. Mayor, may I? Just for the folks watching at home, to clarify, we pretty much, I believe we voted on the IFT policy, am I correct?
We did. I don't know if it addressed a policy of transferring.
Okay,
The
but
policy was for new.
it would be equivalent to the policy that we've adopted as far as, and in that policy, it establishes that a certain amount of bricks and mortar has to exist, and that a certain amount of jobs have to be created, and that Display Pack is meeting that criteria, which is why we are offering this IFT, that it wouldn't even exist if you weren't bringing taxable value to our community and providing jobs in our community, so that's where the give and take came from.
Correct. Any other questions of Mr. Hanson?
Do you have any idea approximately what the percentage of your employment was from Cedar Springs?
The last I knew, it was probably at least 15%, maybe a little bit higher than that. I would say before we moved up here, it was probably less than 5. So it's grown significantly. So I would say, you know, offhand, yeah.
For the city proper, right off.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of growth in it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm tracking it like 49319 zip code when the hires come in, so I would say 25, 30, something like that. Yeah.
Significantly better than the 5% we had before.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt, yeah.
Mr. Mayor, if I could make one comment. Also, remember the additional bricks and mortar being here, that even the folks who aren't necessarily residents of Cedar Springs are eating lunch here, are buying lunch here, are getting gas here. So there's that economic benefit to the community of having a bricks and mortar business in the community. In addition to the jobs that it creates, it's the additional economic footprint for our restaurants and our gas stations and the people who stop to shop on their way out.
Any other discussion before I request the motion to close the public hearing?
Just one comment. The fact that they're here, approval, and move here, speaks loudly in the business community, and may invite other businesses to move in simply by your presence. We appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate your presence. Thank you.
Yeah. The clerk would like to speak.
Just as a clarification, this isn't a consent agenda, so if you choose to remove it, you may further discuss it. If you do not, if you would like to approve it as it is, with approving until the end of December 2020, you can leave it in the consent agenda.
Hey, other than
So without getting in the weeds, and Mayor, you can help me here if I get lost. The personal property tax, the $3,000, I think, is an estimation, is it not? A guess?
Yeah.
Because of the way personal property is handled now, it all comes back from the state after they run it through their formulae, and it's quite a complicated mess.
Yeah, and personal property tax is in huge flux right now at the state level, so 3,000 is almost kicking out of thin air. I guess I provide that number only to let you know we're not talking about $1 million lost from the city. It is, at the city level, a small amount. Although I did just see this morning that the House was voting on various personal property tax incentives at the state legislature, so we'll see where this ride ends. But yeah, it's an estimate.
Any other questions? I'm going to entertain a motion to close
Mr.
public
Mayor,
hearing.
I will make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second. Been moved and seconded to close the public hearing. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
seconded. Moving on. Consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second?
It's been moved in second. Any discussion?
I do, under the minutes, the minutes when we was talking about pole signs in last month's meeting,
Give us a second.
and evidently when I went off to the other page, it scrolled on me. Just before section 8, it'd be 7I. It says Hopkins stated that planning commission previously voted 5-4 not to allow the poles, after Powell stated that the businesses want pole signs. I was one of the 4 that voted for it, but the way it looks is saying, I'm saying we shouldn't have them because I was voting 4-0, or 5-4.
So switch the numbers? Is that what you're saying?
Well, you can put it in that Hopkins would like to have them, but stated the planning commission previously voted 5-4 to no. Just so it doesn't make it look like I'm saying no and I voted yes. Correct. When I wanted them.
Any other further corrections or changes? Hearing none. Have a roll call vote. Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Mrs. Conlon?
Yes.
Mr. Gross? Yes. Mr. Hopkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Nixon?
Yes.
Mrs. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Hall votes yes. Motion carries. Consent agenda.
Mr. Hall,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
believe you skipped number 5, adoption of the agenda.
One on my page.
Oh, it's at the very bottom. Like almost cut off.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good catch.
Back up to adoption of the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved in seconded to approve, adopt the consent agenda. This time I do a roll call. Mr. Park?
Yes.
Ms. Conlon?
Yes.
Mr. Gross? Yes. Mr. Hopkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Nixon?
Yes.
Ms. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Hall? Votes yes. Motion carries. Everyone okay with the consent agenda then, since I jumped ahead a little bit? Okay, moving on down, I think we're on 7 now.
Action item? I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So, we approved the agenda and the consent agenda all in one vote?
Will we approve the consent agenda first?
Mr. Lynn, would you like another vote on the consent agenda?
For the council, it's already made the motion.
What's the will of the council? To approve
I'm fine.
What are we approving?
We did the agenda and the consent agenda.
I didn't hear the agenda go by. I just heard the consent agenda go by twice.
I went back to the consent.
He said
No, the
consent,
consent agenda.
but the motion was to approve the agenda.
I
And
don't
the
know if
second
that's-
was,
Okay.
If that's clear, I'm fine.
is the clerk clear for the record? We're good.
All right. Trying to get this thing over before 8:30.
Mr. Mayor got a flu shot. He's not feeling super awesome.
Okay. I think we're ready to move on to action items, number 7. Everybody on that with me? Item A, Mr. Womack.
Thank you. I think we switched action items around with discussion items. I think we did that specifically so that any person who is waiting for their item to be acted upon might be able to leave a little bit sooner in the future. So thank you, Mr. Lynn, for making that change.
Good call.
40 work week. I did tell you I'd bring it back to you in October so we could discuss it, see whether you guys were still okay with it, see if you'd heard any public feedback from it. I have heard mostly positive feedback for it. We've had a few people who would like us to work Monday through Saturday.
Well, could you just be open 24 hours? 7 days a
And
week?
we did have a few people who asked if maybe instead we would just have one very late night, like on a Wednesday or something. That's hard to do when you have such a small staff. Most have been positive. We've got a lot of people coming in between 7:30 and 9. I would ask that you allow us to continue to do it. So I guess you don't technically need to take any action at this point.
Would you like a motion?
You could have a motion in support, but really the only action required would be motion to go back to the 5 days. But either way, you can either table it or motion in support of staying 4 days work week.
I've gotten positive feedback. I don't know about anyone else.
My mother called and yelled at me one Friday when she couldn't get through to City Hall on the phone.
Did she really?
But after I explained to her a couple times that no, Mom, they're closed, really, and it was okay.
I had several people tell me that it's nice to be able to come in after 5 o'clock if
Yeah.
you work out of
I
town.
could see definitely saying shit.
I guess what's the will of the council?
I want to give a little feedback. I've had a few people that come to my office thinking I'm the second branch of the City Hall, I guess. Want to know how they're supposed to pay me to use the park. I'm like, you don't pay me to use the park. And they want me to pay their water bill. I'm like, you don't pay me for your water bill. You pay City Hall. And then there's a box here you can drop your stuff in. It's a matter of retraining people. So 3 months worth of trying to retrain people isn't adequate. Is there a spot on the water bill saying that we're only open 5 days or 4 days?
I don't know if it's ever been on the water bill. Of course, if a water bill due date falls on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we will accept it until Monday with no late fees. And for the most part, we've had people come and say, oh, I tried to be here on Friday and I discovered you were closed, and now that I see, what your hours are. Nobody's been upset about it, but I think you're right. It's just they have to get used to it.
Well, we're in a society where people are used to 24/7. I have people come knock on my door at 6 o'clock in the morning thinking I should be open for tea or coffee, and I'm down there working on stuff. I'm like, no, I'm not open until 10.
It does feel like I'm here 24/7 sometimes.
I will admit that one Friday I walked up to the door to go pay a water bill. Confused me why I couldn't get in. It's Friday, so it's going to take a while for everybody to get used to it. And I'm not sure it's had a fair chance to be gotten used to yet. So I have no problem with letting it remain for a while.
I think that's kind of the consensus of the council. We'll continue with the full day. Right?
Mr. Mayor, may I just ask a question? Is it working for the staff?
I think staff really likes it. Now, me personally, I'm here Fridays and usually at least Saturday or Sunday.
I know.
But the few Fridays that I have not come here, it allows me to go grocery shopping with my wife and do all the things I wouldn't normally get to do. So I think staff really likes it.
Good.
Okay.
You were here on Friday, you want to swing the door on me.
And any Friday that I'm here, you can try knocking on my window. I might answer.
Well, I did feel a little foolish, I'll admit.
Hey, that goes to 11 every day.
Stay with a 4-day week until. But
Thank you.
moving on to item D.
The Yankees Effort Community Event application, you guys have seen this a couple of times. I believe Mr. McHugh is here in the audience if you'd like to hear from him. There's been a couple of developments, I guess, since the last time you guys looked at this. It seems as though Mr. McHugh is offering a contract to use the property. I'm not generally in favor of that. I'm not quite sure why that was offered. My bigger concern are things like safety plans and whether he makes contact with the sheriff's department and what he's going to do about alcohol and having paramedics available and stuff like that. Those are my primary concerns. And of course, I don't have the history with his events like perhaps some of this council has, because last year it was 70 degrees. It's hard to have a snow event when it's 70 degrees out. 61.
So,
It's probably ingrained in his memory.
The life that will never knew from the end.
Totally, nobody's letting you live it down, he hasn't had a chance.
But of course, there's also the problem that we're talking about developing that site out there, and who knows whether he'll be able to do this next year anyways. So it's up to council whether they want to preliminarily approve this, pending, the fact that he has a safety plan in place, and administratively, there's a few things I wanted to do, like remove his property off the site after the February event. But I take no position about whether council should approve this or not.
Some questions?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm I'm not sure as to the purpose of the contract either. So, I'm not really sure why we're going in that direction as opposed to the community event, which I thought in the past hit the bullet points that you have to have insurance, you have to be safe, you have to,
We do it.
you know.
This, speaking of insurance, before we get off on the part of the contract, liability insurance was a big concern by the city manager for a long, long time. And it's been brought up to me many occasions, when you get liability insurance for this thing. We cannot buy liability insurance for a racing event until 2 weeks before that. So, thought about this for a while, and they're also working with Vic from Display Pack. I own a construction company. Guess what? When we're out there working on that track, which we're mowing, okay, and we're setting things up, my construction company is doing that work.
Okay.
So now we have liability insurance with workman's comp, with us working out there with the construction company's name all over it. The event insurance itself, I can't buy this stuff until 2 weeks before it because it is just like the stock market. The numbers change every year.
We have that with the festival also.
Yeah, so I'm preaching to the choir.
I think it's also dependent on the weather, is it not?
Well, certainly, if it's forecasted to be 60 degrees, I don't know why.
Well, and that's the thing of it is too, I'll still buy this stuff, but I mean, if I don't pull the event off, I have to tell them 48 hours ahead of time, hey, guess what? We should be mowing instead of racing, like we did last year and the year before. Just to kind of let everybody know, every year that we have hurricane after hurricane after hurricane slamming into the west coast of the United States, guess what happens in February? School, kids don't go to school for 3 weeks. Let us pray. Anyways, with the contract that I had sent to Rebecca and Mike before, this event right here, this is, I know it's your man, but I mean, how I'm saying this is my show. Every other show that we do, where we show up and produce the same exact event, people write me checks. They pay me to show up. We're exactly like NASCAR, NHRA, IHRA, IndyCars. They have a festival event like Tip Up Town, Cadillac Winterfest, Genesee County Fairs. The Shush Mountain people hire us in April. Why? Because there's no snow anywhere else, but there is on that ski hill. They pack these places. So they hire us to come there and put together these shows. When I had talked to Thad before, when I was running Tip Up Town, and I don't remember who it is, because I can't, but it was a lady that called me up and said, I was at Tip Up Town, apparently you run these races, can you come and talk to us about doing it in Cedar Springs? And the first thing I said is, or she said, what can we do to get you to come and do this in Cedar Springs? And I said, first thing you need is a really, really big lake. Well, where's your lake? And then it was brought up that the land was there. So we had kind of went back and forth, and then Thad and I got together, and suddenly, out there in these fields that are just sitting there all this time, in February, we're going to race some sleds. That I had sent you guys, that's what I showed to Thad to begin with. I go, I really don't have a contract set up like we had at Berry Expo. Are you familiar with the Berry Expo Center? It's in Hastings, Michigan. 167 acres of perfectly flat black clay. 322 modern campsites, 4 shower facilities, 16 pole buildings, and an incredibly way cool record-breaking snowmobile grass drag strip that had permanent fencing, permanent buildings, permanent tech building, and permanent start lines at that facility. We had a contract between us. You know what they did? The contract meant that on the second weekend in October, I was racing snowmobiles. We weren't the only thing that came to that weekend. It was the Hastings Fairgrounds is what it is. But you couldn't say that to them because they got really mad because it was called the Berry Expo Center. You had to call it that or they got upset.
So is it the intent of this contract that this will be self-renewing every year then?
When we did the Berry Expo thing, we did a 5-year deal, every 5 years. I started in 1995, I left there in 2015. We were there for 20 years. Every year, well, every 5 years, we'd get together, and they'd go, well, you want to do another 5 years? Yeah, this is a hit. And in 2015, I did the same thing. I went to one of the fair board meetings. And they said, Timmy, are you going to come back? And I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Snow racing is totally different than grass racing. The amount of money that you've got to put up to produce a grass racing show is 10 times what it costs to do a snow show. The only thing you need when you're doing it in February is snow. Yeah. Yeah, let us pray.
Yeah.
So when, I was trying to feed Mike some information here. This is what we had done in the past. And Mike had just got done saying, hey, he's new. He didn't know what the deal was that we had before. So I kind of threw that out there.
Well, I think too, the always council is new also.
Yeah, oh, okay.
All that's
I went once,
yeah.
and
I
it was
mean,
fabulous.
on the council.
And I didn't attend the thing, but I was on the council when we did it the first time.
You know?
Yeah, you didn't have alcohol the first time, right?
No, and just to let y'all know right now, we are not getting a beer tent
Okay.
at any of these events. Would I like to have a beer tent? Yes. You know what I'd like even more? Some nonprofit organization that wants to come with me and run the damn thing. I can't find anybody. Nobody wants to. All these people that I need to come with me to go do this, they're all, I'm not trying to say nothing bad here, but they're all retired guys, okay? Well, guess what? When Jimmy's racing snowmobiles in February, they're gone. I mean, let's see, cold, snowy, no, we ain't interested. And that's pretty much what happens.
I won't be
Yes, yeah. So, as far as everybody knows, or I want to tell you right now, it's not that I don't want to put together a beer tent out there, because we have found that we have a far more controlled crowd when we have a beer tent. We had that in our drag strip in Hastings, Michigan. A lot more liquid, you-know-what, doesn't exist when you have a beer tent where they actually have to go walk away to go back to someplace to go get the stuff. Instead of buying a 30-pack of their favorite beverage, setting it down next to the fence and racing it to the bottom. Which, once again, with our safety plan for alcohol and everything, we have people that walk around without the great big jacket that says, hey, guess who I am? Okay? I got two Nazis, not using it as a bad word, camera people, but I do, I call them. They're my pit Nazis. You boys go out there and you find people that are stupid, and you can liquid stupid, okay? Guess what? Go take liquid stupid away from them. If they don't like it, there's the road. That's exactly how this works. I'm trying to put together this big family thing, okay? I'm going to use you, Rose. You were there before, okay? It's moms and pops and the kids are coming to play with this thing. And moms and the pops and the kids are watching daddy or mommy, because it is a proven fact that women have better reaction times than men. That's why I hate racing girls. Oh my God, you can see electricity going through wires. I know what you can. So anyways, this is what I'm trying to put together. I don't want to put together this race, which, believe me, there is a race that just happened last weekend in Byron Center. You know what that race is and why I won't go there? Here, hold my beer, I'm up. That's exactly what happens at that race. And I have had those people call me up, what are you, too good to come down here? Yes, I am too good to come down there and race my snowmobiles. Sorry, you guys are a lawsuit waiting to happen. I've seen these shows. I'm not doing that. And I'm not just doing that to tell you what you want to hear. Seriously. I haven't been doing this since 1991 when we started, because we're doing stupid stuff. Nope. And I'm not doing this to where people want to hire me to come to their towns to fill their hotels, restaurants, and everything else on a certain weekend, because we're stupid. Try to be smarter than the snowmobile that we're racing. First thing it is, don't fill it full of alcohol.
Our agreement before with the union was a lease, or was it a?
No, we have just
No, basically a handshake.
Community event.
And that's where we're at
Is
tonight.
there any benefit either way to you, contract or community
Well,
event?
we had talked about here, when Thad and I, the very first year that we did it, he's like, hey, can you help us pay the taxes on the thing or whatever? And I go, what do you want? And he goes, I don't know. What are you thinking? I go, how about $500? I gave him $500. Now, ever since we've been doing this thing, okay, we only ran it 1 year after that, and the last 2 years after that, we haven't run it at all.
Right, there's been no snow.
Nobody came up to me and said, hey, where's your $500 again? So, I would be willing to, which we're going to try to put this together in December, the weekend before Christmas. Not the weekend before, because Christmas, I think, is on a Tuesday or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
The one in December, we are just drag racing only. okay? Every year for the last 7 years, there's been 1.5 feet of snow on the ground in Cedar Springs, Michigan, the weekend before Christmas, okay? You watch, February, it's going to be 71 degrees, and we're going to be golfing that weekend.
So the contract or the community event is equally good to you? You don't care?
Doesn't bother me, whatever you want to do. I mean,
Okay.
you guys want me to throw some cash your way to help pay the taxes? I kind of brought it up. I don't know, everything that I do right there, I'll throw $500 at you guys, okay? I mean, if it helps out, I'm okay with this.
Thank you.
Right.
And you hire our fire department and
Well, I don't really want this, can you give me some?
I do have,
I'll remember that.
Yeah, I know you will.
I do have a question on that.
Yes, sir.
Notice, I was part of them, and so it's not a knock on the guys, because they do a very good job, and fully capable. You keep mentioning they want EMTs.
EMTs.
Do they have to be EMTs?
They want to be EMTs.
Do they have to be EMTs?
Yes.
Can they be MFRs?
Boy, you're throwing a new one at me right there.
It's a different rating based on the state rating system. Medical first responders is what our department is qualified for, although they do much the same as an EMT. An EMT is one step higher based on the rankings. So
I would imagine
if the
that-
company is saying EMT, and they're really saying they just want medical assistance, that's fine, because they're doing the generic.
And the thing of it is, whether they're EMTs or they're MFRs that you were talking about here, what they're going to do is they're going to, if somebody falls off the sled, they're going to put them on the board, they're going to tie them down, they're going to make a call. While they're doing that, the big box with the lights and the 4 tires underneath it puts them in the box and takes them away. Then the EMTs go back to what they're doing, or MFRs. I did not know that there was another classification with that, but you see, this is all insurance company driven.
And that's what I'm saying. A lot of times they use it as a lumping. They just want medical care there, which these
And
guys
that's
are
exactly what they're
fully
looking for.
capable of doing.
Because when this started, though, keep in mind, I said that I've been doing this since 1991. They wanted ALS ambulances there, Advanced Life Support Ambulances. That was like $4,000 to maybe sometimes $5,000 a day. And then I brought, all of us promoters, as we were talking about before, all of us promoters get together, and we went to the insurance companies, which they got their underwriters, which is Lloyd's of London. Nobody's touching this stuff. It has that evil word racing in it. It means it's bad. Anyways, we went to them and we go, look, even if we got an ALS ambulance sitting right at the thing, do you know what happens? And we'll show you a video of this. They make a call. The guy goes up, puts them on the board, ties them down, makes sure the guy's still breathing and his color is good and everything. Can you tell me what your mother's maiden name is? And then they put him in another box, and then they go that way, and the guy goes and sits back over there, and it's $5,000 for a freaking weekend. So can we just do this with the EMT guys? Okay, fine and dandy. So we're still doing that, but then the cost of getting, Life was the company that we were hiring because they were out of Hastings.
Life EMS?
What's that?
Is it for Life EMS?
Life EMS, yeah. And then to top it off, when you call them up, oh, you want an ALS ambulance? Oh, we only have 2 of them. Yeah.
Okay.
So they are fine and dandy.
If I could redirect you a little bit. So I don't think, at least my office in the administration, we're not opposed to you holding the event. We just obviously have some of our own requirements that, you meet the safety plan requirements, which involve medical and policing of the event. We need some additional details. I mean, you're requesting a road closure, but I don't think you indicate where exactly you're going to put this road closure at.
Yeah, we did.
I'm looking at the thing right now, and it says West Street, but it doesn't say where on West Street.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Well, in any case, minor concerns.
Okay.
And of course, council could approve this subject to administrative completion of the event details with Mr. McHugh. And council can also approve the December event now, see how it goes, and approve your February event at a later date, depending on how well the December event goes.
A little late.
2 months is a little too late to hold an event.
Yeah, look how long it took me to try to find somebody to sell beer.
Well, of course, council could decide to unapprove your event too, if the December event doesn't go off without a hitch. But, I think, and I'm putting words in council's mouth, but I think council's generally in favor of this, they just want it to be run smoothly and safely. Which is why they're looking for assurances that the event would be held smoothly and
Of
safely.
course, I could provide them with about 300 references to go, yeah, this guy knows what he's doing. So,
Mr. Fraser, you have your hand.
Well, I just, 3 or 4 years ago, when I first talked to Mr. McHugh, spent 20 minutes to half an hour explaining my side of the situation. And I told him to contact Rockford Ambulance. He said it was, at this point in time, kind of unaffordable. And I think what Mr. McHugh is referring to as EMTs is a general statement. You don't go out there and you say, well, Dan's an MFR, Jerry's an EMT, Jerry's a paramedic. An EMT is an emergency medical technician as far as the general public is concerned. And I explained to him the difference. And at that particular, like I said, this has been 3 or 4 years ago, it was totally acceptable as an MFR as long as we had at least 2 people and a rig adequately equipped to handle that type of emergency, which our number 6, our box ambulance is. And we've been working off of that thought whenever he has a race. And we've been down there for a couple of them, and the only time that we had an issue was when the president of Yankee Zephyr hit a tree with a snowmobile.
yeah, I'm the guy that went to the 600 horsepower snowmobile.
But I just wanted to clarify to the council that I think the general consensus of the public is an EMT, whether you're a first responder or a paramedic.
And that's what I was trying to get at, was if they're using it as the generic.
Exactly.
There's so little difference between the two.
Well, and that's the thing too, Marty and I get together before these, events, and, okay, I'm gonna put you here, okay? Look around, this is what we're doing here and here and here, what do you think? Usually he turns around and goes, yeah, this is a good spot.
Okay.
Because we've always, I've been to other events before where the EMT guys are sitting behind the start line. Guess what? Bad stuff does not happen there. Bad stuff happens way down there, and it's gonna take you 20 minutes to drive through the crowd to get down there. Why don't we put them down there automatically? So this is where we set them right at the finish line. We make them a little road so they can drive down there, because you see the snow is this deep. Well, guess what? The truck he's driving isn't gonna work that good.
Yeah.
So we make them their own little road to get down there and go put boy on board. Wait for the big box with lights to show up.
Chief Fraser, you're okay with this?
I have been, yes.
Okay.
I'm not sure I want to pray for snow, but, that means if he's racing snowmobiles, I'm shoveling, so.
Smells good for my business too, I'm very well.
I was just going to say that while it's very generous to put forth a contract offering $500 to these people, and I think that a community event serves this just as well. It makes sure that all our boxes are checked. It allows the land to be open to other uses as well. Not that I don't want you to use it, but we just want to make sure that if other people have other things that don't conflict in that space, that we have it open to them as well. And I think that it would serve us all just as well.
What's the will of the council?
I have a question on
Let's move
stuff
on.
that you've left behind that was referred to.
Yeah.
How much is it? What are we talking about?
Now, this is something that maybe DPW can speak more fully about, but it's my understanding that there have been things staked into the ground, and that there have been signs and other things left in the tree line on the south end of that property.
On the west side in the woods, what is that exactly? Is that some of your rails or?
Right. What we had in the past, we have wooden return lane that we use. We have fencing that we put up for crowd control. And once again, when we were at Barry Expo before, which Mike was not known of this, I guess, but when we were at Barry Expo, even though we had permanent fencing that was put up and stayed there for 20 years, I put this up, and we had these monster billboards that went across the top of this thing, where we had to run our wires and everything over the top of this. That stuff stayed there. We know that when we have put together this particular track out here, some of this stuff, we gotta go put someplace, okay? So, when I originally talked to that again, which once again, the guy's not here, and I'm gonna be totally honest with you, because he was standing right here, you go, yeah, that's what Jim said. When I talked to the guy, I says, okay, Tom was the fellow that was here before David, okay? if anybody's ever been out to there before, when you drive into the end of the two-track, when you turn right, you're either dumping trees or leaves. Well, if you keep going up the hill a little bit, there is a gate with a padlock on it. Wow, what a great place to put all this stuff, way back there in the woods where nobody's going to see it, and it's got a gate. Well, at that time, Ted said, no, that's Tom's World, let's not go throw any more stuff up there in Tom's World. And literally, a month or so had went by, I'm back down there at the track, because I do this. I stop by, okay, if I put this here, and I got to park so many people here, and I got to put Marty over here, and I got to just make him happy. Anyways, where can I put this stuff? If you go and you drive into that two-track, and you look to the west, there is all these great big willow trees and cedar trees. It's a wet area. Nothing's ever going to go in there. I went back to him, and I said, hey, can I put this stuff on stickers and put it out there in the woods? Yeah, go hide it out there. That's exactly what he said. It's been there ever since. So I put it out into the woods, all nice and stacked up in a neat, proficient military fashion, and left it there. That's why I put it there.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we continue, which I think already started, the community event paperwork for the December event. If we have not started the paperwork for the February event, that we proceed with that as well, to be managed or administered by our manager.
Support?
Okay, we have a move motion, correct?
Yes.
If I could clarify, Mr. Clark, if you'd be okay with this, instead of managed by the administrators, that the
Yeah.
administrator would be satisfied that Mr. McHugh has met all the requirements of the
Okay,
community identification.
And then we'll bring it back to council.
Are you moving to allow the community event at this point?
Yes.
Okay, in that case, I would just ask you to approve the community event and then leave it to administrator's satisfaction that all the requirements have been met. And the reason behind that is because I'm not sure, despite what Mr. McHugh was saying, I'm not sure that the West Street location for the closure is satisfied. I want to make sure he has his insurance, that he's got his medical set up, whatever. I do what the council orders me to do.
That's fine.
If your policy to do it,
That's good.
I'll work with him to make sure it gets done.
Madam
I'm
Clerk,
fine with that.
Mr. Hall, I would like to clarify the motion.
please do.
Okay, the motion is to allow both December and February community events contingent on administrator is satisfied by evidence provided.
More stated.
And seconded?
Okay. Been moved and seconded to approve Yankee Zephyr Community Event application pursuant to the manager's
Satisfaction.
satisfaction. Any discussion?
I hope you have snow.
Yeah, me too.
That was a wonderful event.
Only in the field.
Roll call vote.
Hey, oh, that's something, oh, go ahead.
Roll call vote. Mr. Clark.
Yes. Yes.
Mrs. Conley.
Yes.
Mr. Groves.
Yes.
Mr. Hopkins.
Yep.
Mrs. Nixon.
Yes.
Mrs. Powell. Powell votes yes, motion carries.
If I may, one more request. Thank you very much, by the way. Dave, if I put a big sign out there in the middle of that field that says dump snow here, would you dump it where I asked you to dump the snow? Where you're dumping it is fine and dandy, and he should go about 100 foot that way.
That's the management issue, you need to take a look.
Okay. Because where they were dumping the snow last year was great. We just need you to back it up a little bit. Where you were dumping the snow, it would be
It
awesome.
wasn't here.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I
It was made a mile.
Okay, I'll get it. All right.
Okay.
Thank you very, very much.
Moving on to item C.
Culver's sidewalk waivers? No, quarterly water
Quarterly
meter.
water meter reading. Mr. Womack.
Thank you. So we did bring this to you previously. You should have a pretty good understanding and plan as we present it to you in your packet of what this entails. This is going to go hand in hand with later on discussion item 8B. The reduction in workload for my DPW is important, especially during the winter months. It's obviously not fun for anybody to be out there during the winter months. But what we're essentially doing here is we're freeing up 2 months of the year where instead of going out and walking around, they'll be installing the new water meters, which will all be radio readings. So I don't have the numbers directly in front of me, but we'll be saving a lot of time for my DPW staff, who will then turn around and use that time to install the new water meters, which will eventually all be radio read, which would then mean we just drive around the city, the radio reader picks it up, and we don't have to walk around at all. So by giving them this extra time to do the meter installations, we're looking at, instead of a 6 or 7 year radio read installation time frame, to a 2 or 3 year meter installation time. So I think we've worked out almost all of the kinks. We've worked on this quite hard. The only problem that I see with it is the issue that Ms. Nixon brought up at the last meeting, and that is we are not going to be able to catch all the leaks and high water reads that we currently do on a monthly basis. And we do have a couple of those per year, and of course we do cross-compare their current usage to their past usage to make sure that it's within, normal realms of possibility. And that service would be eliminated. But, of course, that being said, there is a certain amount of personal responsibility that the homeowner has to take for discovering that they're leaking themselves. And that is one thing that my staff worked to do, is come up with a informational sheet that we would provide to all the residents to allow them to keep check with their water usage on a monthly basis anyways. So I think it's a good move, especially if we go along with the increased financial support for the replacing water meters. And I think my staff is ready to answer any questions you guys might have about this change.
Hey, Alan. So what you're saying, if I understood that right, is like with electrical meters, when they do estimated reads, if you call them, they can check to see what the regular actual usage is, but if we go to the quarter reads with this, you can't do that?
No, you can actually do that. If a customer does call to complain about a high or a low usage bill on a certain month, an estimated month, we would very easily, just like we do now, go out in the field and check that homeowner's actual usage. Of course, if they called in a couple days after they received the bill, there might be a week's worth of usage added onto that, but that would be easy enough to figure out.
And the new meters that we're installing, those we can go back and get a day-to-day usage?
Yep, with the new meters, it has the technology to where we can print off a bar graph and a day-to-day, 24 hours a day usage chart of within the past 90 consecutive days of water usage. So if they do have a water leak in the period within the 2 estimated months, we'd very easily be able to download that data if they have the new meters, and basically see when that leak started, what was the cause of it. If it's homeowner's responsibility, well then it's unfortunately homeowner's responsibility.
I guess my thought is we go to this, we have a high water usage. Can we go back and use, let's say it's in December, we can go back the following year in December and utilize that number to bill them with, or what would be our resolution to that?
I think what the software does is it looks at your previous year's usage. And, if your this year's usage is significantly higher or significantly lower than that previous year, then it automatically generates a reread or something where you would, a human eye would have to look at it and make sure that things were kosher, essentially. I'm not sure if that's addressing the point you have, but there is oversight from humans to make sure that it's not outside the normal realm of use.
I guess to have a procedure or a protocol for the administrative, the staff, to say, okay, you have a high reading, and they're raising holy houses at the front counter, like, okay, how, do they still require to pay this bill, or are we going to have some type of a flexibility for staff to adjust it?
Sure. We did partially talk about this last month, and we actually had this issue come up this past month, so I'm fresh from, knowing what to do. obviously, we look at all avenues and try to come up with as much evidence as we can about what actually happened and who's responsible for it. Because of course, we certainly don't want the citizens to have to pay for something that they didn't do or are not responsible for. So we do have a methodology for testing our meters to make sure that they're accurate. We do have a third-party consultant that can test to make sure that we're testing appropriately if the citizen wants it. The bar graph that Mr. Duquette is talking about was something that we were able to pull for this particular individual, and we were able to see exactly when the leak started, exactly when the leak stopped, and we were able to deduce what we think happened. So we're open to all avenues of evidence and trying to find out what happened. Now, at the end of the day, if the water goes through our water meter and into the individual's house, we're not responsible for leaks after that point. But we do try to be flexible in offering people any kind of assistance we can.
I think that's excellent. I guess where I'm coming from, I myself would like to see a safety net for, let's say, you to be able to adjust this bill if necessary without having to come to us.
Wasn't that the policy?
Well, give you more, your discretion, and the staff can put their heads together and say, okay, yeah, we can discount some of this a little bit.
Sure. I think at this point I'm satisfied with the amount of control that council's giving me.
Okay.
Although I think your point is right that we may have some hiccups in the future.
Absolutely, that's what I'm trying to.
And I think at that point, again, I feel comfortable with the level of control he's given me, and if I feel like I need more, I'll come back to council and ask for it.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure all the councilors are visible. My feelings that, allowing the manager to make an adjustment if needed on his discretion without dragging it out to us, I guess.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask a question?
Go ahead.
So for clarification, the basic plan is we're going to move to doing quarterly reads so that frees up our staff to put in more of these radio reads, which would allow a truck to drive around and read all the meters. The point at which will we go to reading every month when they're all radio reads? So this quarterly read then is for a finite period of time.
Correct.
And we're talking about like maybe 3 years, maybe
I believe
4.
so, 2 or 3 years.
At the end of 2020.
So not even. 3 years.
Well,
It's 2017 right now. So,
I think the hopes would be that once we get the automated system in, we would go back to monthly reads just to boost the cash flow for Mrs. Falcon.
Well, I think the cash flow is going to stay similar because we're going to be sending out an estimated bill on off months,
Without paying.
and that would be caught up by the third month. So the residents will still get a bill on a monthly basis. They'll still have to pay it on the 7th like they always have. And then we'll have a third month where we will do an actual read to see if the estimate's high or low and do a minor adjustment at that point.
but just to clarify, we are talking about doing this basically for a finite period of time. And at which point the radio reads would kick in. And even then, once we have radio reads on part of them, are we going to start doing those pieces every month? Is there some point at which we're going to...
Those already are being done every month. They're mostly the high usage, most of the industrial
So if you
areas.
have a radio read meter, that's still going to get done every month.
Correct.
So as we increase the number of people that have radio reads, we're going to decrease the percentage of the community that's getting every other month.
Correct.
And then they'll come back to us to place a monthly radio read, so.
Right, but I'm just saying, I just
Yeah.
wanted to clarify that we are talking about a finite period of time with a continually shrinking population that would be impacted by this potential every other month with the estimate where we could have this difficulty of somebody has a leak that doesn't get caught.
Well, and on top of that, we live in organic times where this council can change policy if it's not working out too.
Right, but I was just trying to clarify that we are talking about a finite period of time with continually shrinking population.
As you guys know, it's not my intention ever to harm the public in any way.
Sure.
I'm doing this for the public's benefit, and if it's harming the public as some point we can change it at some point.
Right, the idea is to save us money and actually make the service better, faster.
What's the will of the council?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
question, please.
Yes.
I'm trying to make sure I understand what Pam is suggesting. We're gonna have a double stream going then for these 3 years, where the people who have the radio meters are gonna get a bill every month, an actual bill every month, and the people who don't are gonna get an estimate for 2 months and then a read? Is that what I'm hearing?
The industrial and the high usage users will have an actual read every month.
But, okay, so I think
The
what
resi-
Pam was suggesting though is that after we start putting in residential radio reads, that those people who have those, let's say, in after 6 months, they're gonna start getting an actual read every month again. Am I wrong about, that's what I heard her ask.
That's what I,
Oh.
Sure, if I could just step in for 1 second.
Yeah.
The only problem I see with doing that is at the administrative level. Because now we're talking about changing, user X, Y, and Z from one list to the other list, and I'm not sure if we can catch up for 1 month to the next, eventually that's the goal. But I'm not gonna sit here and promise you that the second it's installed is exactly what we're gonna do.
right, I understand at the second, but are we waiting until the end after they're all installed before we start doing this? Or are we going to try to bring them online with the radio read as, I understand not the second, but
Sure.
maybe it's the next month or the month after that.
If that's something we're capable of doing, I certainly think it's something you should do, and we can bring it back to council and let you guys know how we're doing, and you can direct us at that point if you want us to do something different.
Sounds good.
So that is the intent, and it should be a ever shrinking population. And it would make sense that if we're putting on a radio read that we're gonna do that.
As long, well, my concern was that, the fact that these both streams would be time-consuming thing to do, try to do both things.
But I think we already are.
Understand this.
One at a time, one.
I think leave it to the manager, bring it back, see how they're doing, and if we don't like what they're doing, we change it up at that time.
I think it sounds like we're in agreement and we're just trying to discuss minute detail that we don't have any control over today. So I think we should vote.
Yes.
Amen.
She's calling the question.
Yes,
I make the motion here to switch to quarterly water meter reads.
I second.
It's been moved in second to approve the quarterly water meter read. Any further discussion?
I think Barry had it.
Hearing none. Mr. Hopkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Nixon?
Yes.
Mr. Groves?
Yes.
Ms. Powell?
Yes.
Ms. Conley?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes?
Ms. Hall votes yes. Motion carried. Moving on to D.
Thank you. So the Culver sidewalk waiver requests, this site plan came to the planning commission. There were a laundry list of things that they had to do to eventually open their restaurant. One of them was the sidewalk. Under our ordinances, sidewalks are required. There is a waiver procedure, and that is required of the city council, not the planning commission. So you could vote to require that they have their sidewalk installed. They're requesting a waiver at this point due to the fact that there is no sidewalk coming to their northern or southern border. So I guess I would take no position other than if you're going to vote to allow the waiver, that the waiver require that they install the sidewalk at any point that a sidewalk meets their southern or northern border.
I've been on the planning commission and dealt with this for many years. A lot of our subdivisions, they were required to put the sidewalk in after the home was built. And some of the businesses out there, that was the same. So I would be in favor of waiving the sidewalk with a stipulation in there that once sidewalk is established out there, that they would be required to put it in also according to our standards.
I second.
And they also agreed to do that. They said that they're willing to put that in.
And they are,
Mr. Hall, is that your motion?
yes.
I second.
I very rarely make motions because I don't want to.
It works.
It's been moved and seconded to waive culverts installation of sidewalk for a later date then they will be required to install at a later date. Any further discussion?
I have something I would just like to suggest, that maybe recommending we give them a 2-year waiver because there's a lot of folks walking back and forth from the campground. It would be nice if they had a sidewalk to get to. And